Mostly. Hello to everybody. I guess we ought to get started here with. Hey, you know what? Before I say hellos, I got to point something out. I've been having a lot of problems with the internet the last, actually 3 or 4, almost 5 days. It drops off, comes back on 15, 20 minutes later. So if that happens tonight, I'm hoping it don't. But if it does happen, we're probably just going to end the show the first time it happens. So just so you know where we're at, don't waste your time waiting around. And I don't know what the hell's going on. I know they're putting up new power poles along the street. But I mean, at this time of night, they shouldn't be doing any work. So fingers crossed. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start with the hellos. All right, let's see. Who got the cookie? Looks like Schuylkill River Valley. John, you got the cookie. I'll be damned. Hope it filled you up. And Joe Rader got the half cookie. Black Rock Central Railroad. Joe, glad you got that half cookie. Hope that half filled you up. Anyway, glad to see both of you here tonight. And who got the crumbs? Well, get back over here. Who got the crumbs? It was Hot Dog Pilot Andy. Andy always get the crumbs. Anyway, I'm glad you're here. Good to see you here tonight. So, deal with it. Sorry. Gotta get here earlier next time so you get the whole cookie. Or at the very least, a half cookie. CPKC Railroad. Thomas, how you doing, Thomas? Good to see you here. Gerald Stewart, good to see you here. Who else do we got? John Nippenberg. Hey, John, good to see you, man. And Thomas Grassy. Tom, good to see you. I don't know if you got my last text message or not. I got a message from you, I guess your automated system. Said you were driving. And once you stopped, I guess you got the message. I have no idea. Wasn't that important anyway, but, it is what it is. Let's see, who else do we got here? I guess that's everybody. Is that everybody? No. Yeah, it is everybody. All right. Did I fall asleep? No, I never fall asleep. But I've been doing so many different things here. It's just, That's why I know some of you guys, you'll say something earlier when I open up the sort of stream before I actually go live. And I don't usually answer you because I'm busy doing other things. I may not even be in the shed. So, it's not like I'm ignoring you, just that not paying much attention until I go live. John says the cookie was good. All right. Good deal. Oh, hey, Lynn McCurdy and the HDMMRC. Good to see you here, Lynn. All right, so Thomas says the internet's been a clusterfuck. Yeah, it kind of has, really. I don't know what the hell's going on, It's pissing everybody off around here. I was watching what was it, Tuesday night, Dave Thurber's fifth Tuesday, On Track Tuesday. Yeah, and the damn internet went out like 5 or 6 times while I was trying to watch it. Just totally pissed me off. I finally said, you know what, screw this. I'm going next door. I'm going to go relax and watch TV. I get disgusted when that stuff happens. John says, I see the 3D printer in action. Yes, I'm printing the, what I'm calling the East Terminal for my elevated rail. It's going to be significantly smaller than the, see if we can see the other one here. All right, you can see, well, it's back there behind the drill and put next to that box. That's the main terminal, which should actually be the West Terminal for the elevated rail. On the, there's Dwight Curley's corn. I had to reprint him because he had a fucking post office, And I should know better. I put it over the box, handle with care, fragile, do not crush. This end up, and of course they probably threw it against the wall a few times or played frisbee with it, the USPS, and it destroyed the cornfield. I was not happy, but But I'm a good guy and I stand behind my stuff, so I'm going to resend replacement cornfields, 4 of them, to Dwight Curley at no charge, because that's the way I run. So, Dwight, I know you're in here, I think. I thought I saw you here a minute ago. Yeah, there's Curly Express. Dwight, good to see you here. And yes, your corn is printed, and we're going to try it again. Now, I know you want the, let me switch cameras again here. I printed this up today for you. That's the backhoe tractor. I'm going to ship this separately because, and it's possible too that if that, like the truck that I sent you with the corn, if it broke loose and rolled around in there, it would have destroyed the corn. So the corn I'm going to send separately. It's no cost to you. That's my way of, taking care of things. I'm not going to charge you for this either. I feel bad about you having to, go through that bullshit with the corn. So the tractor's on me, but it will be in a separate box, and I should have it out probably mid next week. So look forward to it. Let's see who else we got here. Chuck Schreiber. Hey, how's it going, Chuck? Good to see you here. And oh yeah, now I've got one. This was actually a screw up, Thomas. I mean, it looks good. This is what yours are going to look like, and I sent you 2 of them. The problem is I printed this upside down, and you can't see the writing on it. So to me, this is a wash. The 2 that I sent you are very clear. The IC on there, or IH or whatever it is supposed to be on there, and the diamond looks real good. So you'll be happy with it. And like I said, I printed 2 of them. I was kind of experimenting, and they both came out good. Actually, I printed 3 altogether, but I gave you the 2 nice ones, and you should have them, I think, Friday or Saturday. Tomorrow or Saturday, I think. Hey, Anthony, Georgia Sunbelt. How's it going, Anthony? Good to see you here. On for a short time. Got some yard work done. Okay, or got to get some yard work done. I hear that. You don't even want to see my yard. Yeah, I like the trees, but man, it's a pain in the ass cleaning up all those leaves. It seems like they never stop dropping. You thought they're supposed to like stay up in the summer and then drop in the winter. They drop you around here. It's a pain in the ass. Let's see what else we got going here. Yeah, I know tomorrow's Friday, Tom. I say either Friday or Saturday. So, he'll get it when he gets it. No, don't worry about it, Dwight. It's gonna cost me like $4. I don't even care. Like I said, I feel bad that corn got screwed up. It probably could have been my fault because, like I said, the last time I shipped corn to Dave Thurber, it was just the corn. There was nothing else in the box, and it damaged 2 of the plates, but he had 28 or 32 plates in that box, and only 2 plates were slightly damaged. So we did pretty good with that. So I think that was probably the key. James, Dundas Junction Model Railroad. How you doing, James? Good to see you. He says, I found your lost sticker today. Well, that's good. And Joe says, it's too hot for that shit, Anthony. I'm working outside. Yeah, it's I don't know what it's like up in Maryland, but I tell you, down here it's brutal. I just soon stay in the air conditioning. James said he posted 4 shorts today. Well, we'll have to look for those. I'm always interested to see what James is doing on his layout. Let's see what else we got here. Damn this thing. John says, today is my Friday. Thomas says, delivery date is 8/2. That's going to be tomorrow then. That's assuming that they, I get dates all the time, and they don't either show up a day early or a day late, or sometimes 3 or 4 days late. I don't trust the post office for shit. You know, they just don't know what the hell they're doing. Dwight says, John, every day is my Friday. Yeah, I resemble that remark too. For us retired folk, you know. You're welcome, Dwight. No problem, man. Anthony says, waiting for it to cool down. Well, it'll be dark in about, what, 2 hours? So you probably have a little bit of time to play with. Let's see. Lynn says the same thing, every day is Friday for me. Hey, for all you retired guys out there, you know, a big thumbs up. Now it says, Jim, all three of my Amazon orders came today. One was 2 days early. Oh my God, now lots to do. Well, better to have lots to do than nothing to do, right? Anyway, I'm glad you got all that stuff. I'm still waiting on the, I ordered white resin. It was dirt cheap. It was $13.99 for a kilogram. You know, the big bottle. And I got it from Amazon, and it's due here tomorrow. We'll see. But the gray that I ordered like a week and a half ago is still out in Nevada somewhere. So I'm probably going to have to cancel that order, get a refund, and reorder it because I think it's terminally lost. And that was supposed to be on a 2-day ship too, so who knows? Thomas and Jim, you can keep the screw up and spike, and you can, or you can not. I'm just going to toss it, really. I mean, it has no value because it's like you said, it's messed up, so not a biggie. And see what happens when I put it in the printer. It was in an angle like this, the way I printed it. But the first time I did it, I had the head down, so it prints supports on the bottom and all the way up the side. So the supports, there were so many of them on the bottom that it messed up the lettering. So I had to flip it so that the point was down. This is so it would fit on the plate. This is a full 7 inches, by the way. And so are the ones you got. So I had to flip it on the plate at an angle. And then the letters came out perfect. So, because there was no supports to interfere with them. That's a live and learn deal, you know. So, it is what it is. Let's see. Damn, it locked up again on me. Why does it keep doing that? I have no idea. Yeah, it might be. It's supposed to come out of Nevada. I don't know what the hell's going on. You know, it's a mail. They don't know what the fuck they're doing, you know. Hey, Crooked River and Eastern. Crooked Dave, how's it going? Is that the same gray resin? Yeah, it probably is, Dave. I mean, I've been ordering a lot of it, though. But they had the white. Like I said, I generally use gray. But I was afraid I wouldn't be able to finish Dwight Curley's corn because, I mean, I've literally got like this much left in the vat. And that's it for the gray. They said, well, in case that gray never gets here, I'm going to just go order whatever I can get quick. So I ordered the white, and he said it was $2 cheaper. Actually, $3 cheaper. It was actually 57% off. So I said, yeah, I'll go ahead and buy it. It doesn't matter because I generally paint stuff anyway, you know. So it might be fun to, you know, play around with white for a while. Who knows? But I still, like I said, I'm going to cancel the gray probably and reorder a new gray one and see if I get that one, you know. Or maybe I'll just go ahead and stick with the white for a while since it's $3 cheaper. And I'm going through a lot of resin lately. Thomas J. posted Amazon containers on the move this past weekend from Cumberland, Maryland. That's cool. What the hell is that? A lot of weird noises going on outside. Anfield Road Layout. Lee, how's it going? I don't know if I don't remember if I said hi to you or not. Might have. I don't know. I've determined I'm losing my mind anyway, so. Oh, damn, this thing jumped. It gets stuck, and then I have to, like, reset it, and it jumps, like, 2 minutes, you know? So I'm getting behind here and can't help it. 2010, hit the like button. Yeah, please do, guys. Hit that like button. Got to keep that, whatever the hell it's called, going, you know. Let's see, what else here? And Dave says, I got it 2 days. I need it. Yeah, well, like I said, usually I get them pretty quick. And you do go through it a lot, you know. Like you said, basically, whatever profits I make on the printed stuff that I'm already doing, I'm turning it around and buying resin with it. So, you know, this way I don't run out of resin. I'd like to stock up on it, you know. I should probably go out. They have 2-gallon containers, but they're expensive, you know. I mean, they're not, but they are. It's a lot easier to throw $15, $18 down 2 or 3 times a month than it is to throw down 180, you know, for a 2-gallon one or whatever. So it is what it is. James says, we're all going to Sparky's place tomorrow. Trouble might follow. Follow up. Look out for... I'll keep an eye for that there, James. Hey, Waycross Train Spotter. How you doing? Good to see you here. He says, hi, Jim and everyone. I will be training as yard van driver for 12 hours in Rice Yard in Waycross, Georgia, the same yard where my grandfather worked at during the days of SCL. That's cool. You should have some fun doing that. Yeah, okay, I'll do that. I'll do that after the show. Like I said, I don't know how long it'll be on for sale, but that's the thing with Amazon. If you got sometimes you go back a few times to see if anything goes on sale, and then you get it while it's on sale because that's not the regular price. Because like you said, it was 57% off. So we'll see. That's why I said I scan through, see what I'm looking for, and if I see something cheap, I'll buy it. Oh, that's thunder out there. That's great. Now we got damn thunderstorm I got to worry about. Let's see. Thomas Brashy says, I get my resin and filament next day from Amazon. Only once I had to wait 2 days. They like you better than they like me, apparently. James says, Jim is not behind in the chat. Well, I was a bit there for a minute, but then I quickly got caught up. That was the Anycubic brand, I believe. Like I said, it doesn't matter. It all works. You know, as long as it's 405 nanometers, the curing time or however that's got something to do with it. As long as it's in that 405 nanometer range, you could use it between the Anycubic, the Creality, and probably a few other machines. And that's the water wash too. Waycross Thomas says, I worked 3 12-hour shifts and off 4 days as yard van driver. That's cool. At least it's kind of easy anyway, just driving around. As long as you got air conditioning, it's no big deal. Let's see. Thomas says, I read about 3D printed resin. That's the toughest shit I've seen. Well, it is and it isn't. I mean, I personally think that the filament PLA Plus is stronger than the resin. But I could be wrong on that. I really don't know. Hey, Derek Alexander, how's it going? Good to see you here. It keeps locking up like that. I don't know why it does that. Okay. So, I've been busy printing, of course. Like I said, I just designed this east terminal for the elevated rail. Matter of fact, I want to show you what I've got. So, well, it's more of a mock-up for the moment, but to give you an idea what's going on, let's see, where is that? That's east, this one here. I got the camera up high, my remote camera, and I still got to put the plywood underneath that foam, and I've got to build it out a little bit. The framework, I believe the dimensions were. Yeah, I've got to get a piece of plywood for that, 47.5 inches long or wide, and 5 3/4 inches deep, to bring the framework out to the edge of the foam. So, but that's where and the reason I did that was for the turntable. So the turntable is basically going to be right where it sits now. And there's enough room there to put engines about, probably a little more than halfway around it. And I think what I'll do is, since the track is going to be out toward the outside edge anyway, coming in, I'll come in and swing it in, swing over it and to the back before it goes on to the turntable for the actual loading ramp part. So I could have more room for engines on this side of it. So we'll see how it goes, but I think that's the only area where I really had to build it out. I won't have to put any supports in because it's all pretty strong and there's not going to be a lot of weight on it. So, and then you can see down lower the silver girders. They go all the way around. Matter of fact, I can show you on the other side, which I think you already seen anyway. I also mounted the camera up higher here too. That's a permanent mount camera. I think I may move it closer to the wall though yet. I'm not sure. But underneath those cornfields, the girders, they go all the way down. I've got to put the track down yet, get feeders in and all that. But I haven't glued any of that either. I've glued the girders together, but I haven't glued the supports down to the foam yet, which I'm going to do before I lay the track. But it literally goes all the way around, up all the way through the back, and then up the other side. So all that printing is done. I had to print all new girders and supports, and a lot of printing going on there. So, and I can get this view here. I got to get the. I guess I'm going to use the fiberboard for the top of the tip out. And it should line up with the foam that I put over there already, which lines up fine with the rest of the table. So hopefully, maybe I should have that operational in the next maybe 2 weeks, where I can start running trains again. Because this is the only area that there's a break in the track. Everything else is still intact. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see. Tom Grassi said white resin, any cubic, is now $15.29. Yeah, it went up, see? Sorry about that, Dave. Like I said, you got to catch that stuff quick. But keep your eyes on stuff because it goes up and down. Even the gray, I think the cheapest I got the gray was $14.99 once because it was on sale. I think it just depends upon how much stock they have and how fast it moves, you know. Like I said, at $13.99, they probably cleaned out most of their inventory. You know, because like I said, I don't really care what color it is, so I'm going to repaint it anyway. So we'll see. So let's see here. Tom Grassi said the resin is, I guess he's talking about the resin. It's pretty strong unless you expose it to the sun. Well, that's probably, yeah, well, the problem with the resin is you can over cure it if it's got constant sunlight on it, and it actually will become brittle and break. I was reading that the other day on the internet. I was not aware of that. Although I know you can actually, if you don't have a curing station, you could set your pieces outside in the sunlight. It takes longer, but you can cure your resin prints that way. So it makes sense that if you're out there too long, or day in and day out in sunlight, it's going to destroy it. I don't know if you can do anything to prevent that or not. Damn it, did it again. It jumped. What looks kind of high, Dwight? The table or the second level? No, it's only it's 18 inches higher than the first level. So now I've got room, and I can still get to everything, so I'm not worried about it. Thomas said it also said it's heat resistant because it's clear. I don't know about that. It might be, but I wouldn't swear to it. Thomas says 500.5 kilograms of weight is $14.99. Yeah, see, I got a good deal then. I got a full kilogram, 1,000 grams. The big bottle. I don't have an empty one here, but pretty good sized bottle. For $13.99. Like I said, it was 50. They must have more than half off, so I did good. I don't know if they make gold resin, Thomas. So I couldn't tell you. Tom Grassi might know. Tom, while you're probably looking up things on the internet, see if they make gold resin. I don't know if they do or not. And it jumped again on there. There we go. Dave says, I just now ordered. Oh, okay. So, good. You got the reality then? Cool. $13.99. See how you said they move around. Things are on sale 1 minute, not the next. So you basically got the same deal I got. Just you got the Creality brand instead of the Anycubic. They're all the same. It all works the same. Good deal. Hey, NS5107, a.k.a. Chasco. Chuck, how you doing? Good to see you here, man. Haven't seen you in a bit. Let's see. Thomas says it's clear. So I don't know about that. I really don't. Resin is resin, whether it's clear or tinted or whatever. And you can. I still think you can over cure it even with sunlight. I don't know how long it might take a real long time, but I believe it can be done. Yeah, I did rebuild my lift gate. Actually, it's see if I get a better shot of it here. It's much smaller and narrower. So I built this extra piece on over here, so I don't have it was almost 4 foot long, the original one, and there's no play in this at all. It sits down beautifully. I got new hinges, better hinges, and it should work out perfectly. So yeah, because I was having so many issues with it, even though I was using the and I'm still going to use them, the puzzle pieces that keep the track alignment pieces. But even with those, I was still having issues. So this way, I think I've got it set up better now, and I just needed it wide enough to get through there. So I think it's 24 inches. Right around 2 foot, which is like 4 inches wider than I am. So I'll be okay as long as I don't put any more weight on. So we get any 600 pounders in here, they're not going to make it through. Hey, Digger Evans, how's it going? Good to see you, Digger. Been a long time, man. Yeah, kilogram. I know what you're saying. It's basically I guess I don't know. I get confused with that damn metric system shit, But it's the big bottle because they got the 500 gram, and then they got the 1 kilogram or 1,000 gram or whatever. I think it's 1,000 gram is what they classify it as. I got stuff all over the place here. This is the stuff I bought with Thomas Moore's money for his spikes. I had enough of my own to print them out, and I wasn't sure, but like I said, I bought This was 20. This was $22, I think, or $24 with tax. And it's the Anycubic. Change cameras. The Anycubic water wash, and it's gray, or clear rather. I haven't even opened this yet, but this is, yeah, it's 1 kilogram. So you get 500 grams is half the size, and the 1 kilogram is like 1,000 grams. Fucking metric system. But, you know, like I said, it doesn't take long to go through it. I think you get better mileage out of the filament than you do the resin. Plus, when you're doing supports and stuff, the supports you throw away. You can't reuse it. It's a shame you can't melt it down and, you know, reuse it, but it's a one-time deal. So that's just the way it goes. Uh-oh, that lights are flickering here. I may lose you. If I lose you, I think it's just going to be a temporary thing. I'll jump back on. You know, lights are flickering, damn it. If you lose me, give me a couple minutes to reboot. And if I'm not up in 5 minutes, I'm not going to be. Let's put it that way. Let's see. Jim Brand, Yusu 1,000 gram Meta Gold resin, 22.9. Oh, they actually do make it. I didn't think they had it in gold. What do you know? That's pretty good. Well, I mean, if you want something made, Thomas More, you have to buy it, man, because I'm not buying it. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate that. See how far back did I get behind? I'm close. Tom says they also have brass resin. That's weird. I'll have to look into that stuff. Like I said, I knew they had blue, green, red. I think I saw yellow or something like yellow. And they actually got quite a few colors, I guess. James says, I'm cleaning up the layout this week. Finish the yard next. Cool. All right, now. Is that really necessary? It equals 2.20. Yeah, all right. So a little over 2 pounds. That feels about right. Yeah, it feels like 2 pounds. Like I said, they use the metric system, so not a big deal. I gotten used to it. At least I know when I order it, I want at least 1,000 grams or 1 kilogram. So that's really all I needed to know. He also said they have machines that you can take resin and melt it down. Do they really? It probably costs more to do it, though, than it's probably worth, unless you're, like, commercially. If you're running a commercial business, I could see where that might be a good deal, but for someone like me, probably not worth the expense. And Thomas says, Jim, I sent you about the clear resin. Okay. It's the best stuff. Okay, whatever. The clear, they, like I said, they make it different brands, Dave. It works fairly good. Now, it actually, like I said, I did this spike in clear. And even before I cured it, it was not clear. I mean, not 100% clear. I mean, you could see through it, sort of. It's, you know, translucent. But, like when I did the trucks, I don't have one here handy. I printed the trucks in clear, and they were like glass. So I think it depends what you print and, you know, how thick it is. Now, for you guys who haven't seen this, I also did these at Tom Grassie's request. There's a hole in the top to put a light in. And now, he didn't make his clear. His is gray, and he painted them yellow or printed them yellow. But I'm thinking about putting a red LED in there and lighting it inside the thing. And in theory, it should make the whole buffer stop glow red. So I haven't had a chance to do it yet, but it should work. So, you know. But these came out not too bad. These are fairly clear, too. But they're like I said, they're not 100%. And I'm sure if you buy the more expensive brands, you'll get crystal clear. But it just depends what you're going to do with it, I guess. And you'd have to probably experiment with what's what. Now, this is the first time I haven't used this yet, but this is the Anycubic clear. Now, before I was using the Creality clear. Or no, I take that back. I was using the Sunlu brand, which I just finished that. I had 1 kilogram of that. So maybe this will be a lot clearer. I don't know until it's time for me to use it. But it's clear enough. I mean, you want pure glass, you probably got to buy the real expensive stuff, and I'm not going to do that. James says I don't do metric. I don't metric, still imperial. Yeah, that's right. In Canada, you guys are on the imperial measurements, which are also weird. Not really, but sort of. Let's see. Yeah, actually, it does look a little frosted. Like I said, it's not. Some things are really clear, and some things weren't. Because when I used the other stuff, the Sunlu, I showed you the trucks. I don't have one handy. I think I sold them all or something, but they were crystal clear. But this is not, and neither is this. Now I printed a locomotive for Thomas More, and that's almost crystal clear. And it was like probably closer to N scale because it had a lot of room on the build plate, but I think it just depends upon what you're printing as to how it comes out. Hey, Derek, good to see you here. Yeah, like I said, they came out really good on the trucks. Use the same stuff. I didn't do anything differently, but, it took a lot less time to now. This was a 14.5-hour print. Okay. That's a long time to be in the printer, so that could have changed the color too. Those trucks, I think, were only 3 hours or 2 hours. So it might have something to do with that too. I don't know. Yeah, we talked about that, Thomas. Well, he said I'll bore it out if I need to. That's not a problem. I think I have 2mm LEDs too, but I think mostly I have 3mm. I have a couple of micro ones. They're like, I don't know, like grain of salt or something like that. They're really tiny. I have to dig them up though. Dave wants to know, do you guys find that one brand of resin works? I haven't noticed. I've only used 3 brands. Well, actually 2 brands so far. Or have I used 3? I did use 3. I used the Anycubic, I used the Creality, and I used the Sunlu. I couldn't tell a difference, but I'm not going to swear to it, I look mostly at price, whatever's the better prices. Kind of what I do. I mean, resin's resin, right? Hey, Tom's changing things. Oh, well, power out again. Your power went out, man. That sucks. This is all. Oh, I get I get brownouts, but that's enough to like kick the monitor off. Usually the computer will stay running, but it knocks the modem off, and that could take 3 or 4 minutes to reboot before I'm back online. So I don't know what'll happen. Like I said, I could drop off. We'll see. Hopefully not. You're doing better, Tom. That's good. I'm gonna stop by and see you one of these. I'll call first, but I know Debbie's been kind of itching to get together with your Debbie, so we'll have to get down there one of these days. And it's been kind of crazy around here. If I'm not working in here, I'm in the car shuffling everybody around, this and that, because I'm like the only person in the house that can drive now. My mother-in-law doesn't have a license. Debbie's got her cataracts, so she still drives a little bit, but she shouldn't. So it's kind of rough. I mean, I became like a house chauffeur. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, see, Tom Grassi says I use Anycubic and Sunlu. Yeah, I can't tell the difference between them. As far as I'm concerned, that's what it costs. Yeah, nothing's fast in a resin printer, Thomas, because it goes by height. Now I could have actually printed maybe 3 of them at the same time. Still would have took 14 hours, but I would have got 3 done. But because I was unsure of how the final print would turn out, I elected to do one at a time. So you basically got 28 hours in the two that I sent you, plus another 14 for this one. So it is what it is. Derek says, was the clear resin the same as the resin used for the spike and bumper? Yes, it was. And like I said, there is a difference. I think it's got to do with printing time, possible height, the number of supports you have under it. The trucks had to be supported to get the wheels off the ground, which reminds me, Dave, I haven't forgotten. I got to get you the file for the updated cement mixer. I probably won't get to it today, but I'll get it to you tomorrow. I'm so backed up with everything here, but I haven't forgotten. Dave says, okay, thanks. I've only used the Creality brand so far. Just go with whatever's cheap, Dave. It doesn't matter, I don't think, Even an off brand I would take a chance on. Yeah, that's a dirty word around here, air conditioning. I was supposed to go to Naples next week. And there's the potential hurricane, or at least tropical storm, supposed to come right up the west coast. So I called my doctor and rescheduled, so I'm not going down there. Which might work out better for me, because I was going to rent a car. I already have one reserved. But I'm going to have to renege on it, unfortunately. But because they're saying I'm not driving down there in the heat of summer. But because I have to have my pacemaker checked. They do that, I think, only like one day every 3 months. So I'm looking at possibly late November before I can get to see the doctor again, which is fine. But it'll be cool enough, I'll just take my own car. I won't need the air. Or maybe I'll even get off my fucking lazy ass and actually fix my air conditioner before then. Who knows? It's crazy, I tell you. Tom says 77 with the rain was 98. Yeah, it was hot out earlier. I haven't looked lately to see what it is. Actually, I'm showing on the computer, it says 85 degrees with light rain. So, I don't know if that's accurate or not, but that's what the computer says. Now, I'm the one with 2 of them. Like I said, I've got the Creality and I bought an Anycubic Photon 2, or yeah, Photon Mono 2. And once I get the expansion done on the other side, when I put the new room in, I'll probably be running both of them simultaneously on some jobs. They both work well, so what the hell, right? Thomas says 3D printed railroad spikes are better than getting metal ones. Well, they're lighter. And that's true. You can design them however you want. That is true. No, actually I don't, Dave. I was supposed to. When they put this thing in 4 years ago, they gave me I filled out a thing for it, and they were supposed to give me this device. I think it was really meant for a landline, but I had a landline at the time, and it hooked up into your phone line, and when you sleep at night, it would read it. And if there was any problems, you would report back to the doctor, and it did this like every night. I never got it. I inquired about it a couple of times, and they kept, giving me the runaround. So I just said, you know what? Screw them. Now, Dave Grassi, I think his goes through his phone, his cell phone. I think he's got like a Bluetooth set up. So probably when I get a new one, that's probably what'll happen. But the one I have is supposed to be good, I think, it's either, I can't remember, they told me it was 7 years or 10 years. So I'm only 4 years into it, so I think I have a little time to go. But like I said, when I go see my cardiologist every year, it's a separate unit, but in the same place. They throw this thing around your neck and it reads to your pacemaker, and they can actually make it do whatever they want while you're there. They slowed mine down, man. I felt like I was gonna die, and you know, I mean, they told me they were gonna do it because they were checking something. 15 minutes later, I'm going, "Are you gonna turn it back up or not?" "Oh, we forgot." He forgot. What a bunch of boneheads. So I mean, cause man, I felt like shit. You know, almost felt like I was having a heart attack because my pulses I think is usually between 68 and 77, which is good, you know. But I think they brought it down like in the low 50s. You know, I don't know what the hell they were doing. You know, once again, you put women in charge of this shit, you don't know what you're gonna get. I'm sorry, but that may be a sexist remark, but I just don't trust these people. You know, because they were, bothered by the fact that I made a comment about, "Are you gonna put it back?" "Oh yeah, hold on a minute." You know, what the hell, man? If I hadn't said anything, they might not have ever reset it. You know, I would have dropped dead before I got back up here. Yeah, I'm telling you. James says getting a high resolution CAT scan in January. Oh, that's weird. I guess it's a good thing, though. Derek says every time you have sex, you get a pacemaker check. My friend has one. He was at it, and it went off, and he ended up on the floor. I haven't had that problem. Thank God, right? They might not have had it set right, or he might have been in worse shape than he realized. Yeah, Dave's got a point. Metal ones are free, as a rule. Hey, Floyd Robbins, how you doing, Floyd? Good to see you here. Tom Grass says, my heart rate is 60 all the time. If I run 100 miles, it would still be 60. You know, that's what I thought. Well, some of them are different than others, I guess. Because mine does vary. Not much. You know, it depends. I mean, it's working properly as far as I know. I mean, there's a couple times I actually got up to 81 where, like, I don't know. It might have something to do with my INR too, because I have to regulate the blood clotting ability of my blood. It's called INR. I do that every 14 days, but I test it. But every week, every night, I take a different pill for it, and I worked it out which ones I need. And they're not 100% either. Sometimes you got a little more, sometimes you got a little less. I don't know. Something probably causes that. I don't feel bad or anything. It doesn't bother me. But it's not consistent. Now, my friend who passed away many years ago, but he was a heart transplant recipient. He messed up. He was doing acid, and well, he had congenital heart disease, and he was young. He was only 25, but they said if he wasn't doing the acid, he wouldn't have had problems with his heart till he was probably in his 80s or 90s. But they said he was doing acid, smoking pot, drinking, So they gave him a heart, and it was locked in it. I think his was like 65 beats a minute. And no matter what happened, that's all it would do ever. And he didn't have a pacemaker. That's just the way that I guess they rigged the heart somehow, and that's the way it works. I don't know. It's a lot of this stuff is over my head, James says, my heart rate varies 58 to 70. Yeah, like I said, it probably does in most cases. I know these things, this pacemaker I got is $36,000 sitting in my chest, But I have a three-way. Mine does, it's a pacemaker, a defibrillator in case your heart stops, it'll restart it, and a sequencer. Because the damage to my heart was pretty extensive, and each area of the heart, there's four areas. They're supposed to beat at a specific time, do something at a specific. The sequencer makes sure that they do that. So it's a little weird, but it is what it is. Just happy to be alive, man. And Dave says your friend probably has a defibrillator as well if it went off. Well, Well, you'll know if you get the kick, you know, like, so I'm told anyway. I mean, I died on the operating table when they were putting the stents in. And I just remember blacking out because I was more or less awake for it. And I blacked out, and I guess a couple of seconds, probably only a couple of seconds, I don't know. I came back, and you know, the nurse asked me after the operation, "How did you like the horse kick?" And I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about?" She says, "Well, you died, your heart stopped, and your pacemaker did exactly what it was supposed to do. It restarted your heart." She says, "We're told that it feels like somebody, you know, behind a horse getting kicked in the back by a horse." I go, "Shit, I don't remember that." She said, "Well, you're lucky then." But mine, it has alarms and stuff in it, though. Mine has an alarm that's not, well, we talked about it, I think, last week, but it used to sound like, or it sounds like the old police cars in England, you know. It's loud. You can't, because I was kind of concerned, you know, because I would hear buzzing noises or this or that, you know, different places. They go, "How do I know if it's my heart or not?" So the last time I got my pacemaker checked, I says, "Hey," I says, "this thing's got an alarm in it, right?" He says, "Yeah, why?" He says, "Is there any way you could turn that on for a minute?" He says, "Oh, yeah." So he clicks it, you know, he hits a key and it goes, "Oh, man, that fucking thing is loud." I mean, you could hear it practically across the street, you know. So it's kind of cool in a way, but it's also weird. He says, "It gave him a good kick." Yeah, I'm sure it did. Uh, no, they'll never use 3D printed railroad spikes. They couldn't hold up. They just don't have the strength of steel, you know. Now they have 3D printers that print aluminum, but I don't think aluminum would hold up either. I mean, you'd have to have like 10 of them in a spot in the place of like 4. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it'll just stick with steel. There, so he said he got kicked by a mule. Yeah, I bet he did. Well, he said if you're awake for it, I guess, you know. I said I was lucky because I was awake, but not 100%. I was like, because I remember I was laying on the table, then I heard the doctors, they were calling out, "I need a 4 millimeter by 8 millimeter whatever stent," you know, because they put in 4 stents. So he was calling off everything he needed. So I remember hearing it. I don't remember exactly what they were now, but and like I said, I blacked out. I died, I guess, you know. But I wasn't dead long enough to, you know, see the tunnel or the light or anything else. So I'm guessing the whole shit probably took a few seconds to do its job, you know. Tom says, "I tested my heart rate while driving to work and getting all the idiots on the road. No matter how mad or upset they made, it was still 60. Well, there you go. I guess that's a valid test, right? I had a panic attack one time. It was many years ago, before my heart really started acting up. I was young. I think I was 28 or 29 years old, somewhere around there. I had a panic attack, and I had all the symptoms of a classic heart attack, you know. Pain in my chest, the electrical impulses going down your arm and stuff, you know. I didn't know what a panic attack was, so I went to the ER, drove myself there, right? And it was a weird night. I had a Pontiac Fiero at the time I was driving. I was driving that, and the damn belt went out on it, so I managed to make it to my shop, which is only like a mile away. So rather than fix the belt, because like I said, I'm in a lot of pain. I'm having an anxiety attack, but I thought it was a heart attack. So I said, you know what? I borrowed one of my customers' vehicles. It was a minivan that I already repaired. So I jump in and I go down the emergency room. I get in there. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning. The place is dead. There's nobody there, which is weird. So I walked in there and, so I yelled, "Is anybody here?" And this idiot security guard walks through the second set of doors. "What's your problem?" And I looked around. I said, "This is a fucking hospital, isn't it? What do you think my problem is?" So I said, "I need a doctor, you know." So this idiot yells through the doors into the ER area. "I got a guy here who thinks he's sick. You need to come see him." I fucking lost it. He just pissed me off. Whatever happened, it just pissed me off to the point where I jumped on top of him, beating the shit out of him. You know, I punching the hell out of him. It took 2 doctors and 2 interns to pull me off of him. And the doctor's going, "What the hell's going on here?" I said, "This idiot, you know, I don't know what the hell his problem is. I come here, I think I'm having a fucking heart attack. And this guy's giving me a bunch of shit, you know." So they sent him home, right? Because they probably thought I was going to sue him, you know, or the hospital, which I should have probably. So I went and I got, you know, they did the echocardiogram, whatever, and some blood tests. I was there for a couple hours, and they said, "Well, you know, you seem to be okay. Maybe you had an anxiety attack." And I'm going, "What the hell is that?" You know. So anyway, I went ahead and, you know, they wanted me to stay overnight. And I said, "No, I'm not going to stay. If I'm not having a heart attack, there's no reason for me to stay." So I said, "I'm just going to go home. I feel fine now, you know." So I get out to the parking lot. The minivan's the only vehicle out there. I got a flat fucking tire. So I'm going, son of a bitch. So, I mean, he had a spare, so I had to jack it up, break the lug nuts loose, which were really tight, change the tire, got it back to the shop. The next day I checked the tire. There was nothing wrong with it. That fucking security guard let the air out of one of my tires. But while I was changing the tire, I'm thinking, well, if I had a fucking heart attack, or if I'm having one now, I ain't going to live long enough to finish this job, you know? I said, if I survive this, I'm sure I'll be fine, which I did, obviously. So, I was so pissed off at that motherfucker. His just attitude just rubbed me the wrong way, man, you know? And like I said, I was a little scared. Yeah, I really thought I was having a heart attack, and I'm thinking, shit, I could die tonight, you know? And like I said, I think I was either, yeah, I was 28 or 29 years old, I think. I remember. So, you know, idiots. Thomas, there's a plan for idiots. Yeah, there might be. Derek wants to know, James, what's my plan? Well, fortunately, you can't do that shit what I did. I mean, if you did that today, what I did to that security, I would have went to jail, you know, after they cleared me of not having a heart attack. But back in those days, you could kind of get away with that shit. I mean, even earlier than I used to pull people over the counter, you know, somebody gave me a bunch of shit when I was doing business with them, you know, grab them by the shirt, pull them across the counter. "You got a fucking problem with me, asshole? I'm not in the fucking mood for it today." "All right, calm down, man," you know. Most of them would back down, so everybody I dealt with did. But, you know, like I say, you do that shit today, you're going to jail. I miss the old days. Of course, I can't do that anymore. I don't have the strength or the, you know, the will to do it, but I don't know, it's weird. Yeah, but I actually did. I felt fine the rest of the time. I don't know what happened. I was, you know, me and my girlfriend, we lived together, and I woke up. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and chest was hurting, you know. I got laid earlier. I thought, well, maybe I pushed myself too much, and so I told her, I said, "I'm going to the ER." I said, "You know, don't worry, I'll be fine, I guess." You know, I lied. So I jumped in the car, and like I said, the fucking belt on the Fiero broke. Unbelievable, right? I mean, what timing? And like I said, I used my customer's van, you know, so next morning I had to fix the tire. Well, I thought I had to fix the tire. You know, I put it in the water after inflating it. There's no leak. And so I put it back on the minivan and put the spare and everything else back in place, and it was fine. So I know that son of a bitch let the air out of the tire, you know. He's lucky I didn't catch him doing that, and he would have spent some time in the hospital. Unbelievable. Craziness. This is the best show of the day. I don't know about that, but I don't have a rant, unfortunately. I wish I did. I really don't. I mean, other than, well, you heard my mini rant basically earlier about Comcast, but it is what it is. Delmarva Real Fan. Hey, Delmarva, how you doing? Good to see you here. James and Jim, what is your problem? I get all kinds of problems, man. You know, I was a real asshole back in my youth. I mean, sorta. You know, I had a very short fuse, and it didn't take much for somebody to piss me off. And it's like people went out of their way to do it. You know, I wasn't like a bully or a badass or anything. Some people just pissed me off. You know, the girl I was dating after that, this was a few years later. She had a the hell was that it was a Toyota, the fancy one. I don't remember which one was a quick one. It wasn't the Corolla, it was something else. But anyway, uh, the clutch master cylinder, or the slave cylinder went out in it, and she parked it in the parking lot a couple miles from my house. So she calls me up and she says, I can't move the car. The clutch don't work anymore. I said, all right. So I says, so I went and got her, you know. I didn't trust her. I mean, because she was a drunk, you know. So I didn't want her driving anything in my, because she could have drove my car and I could have followed her with hers, which I probably should have done looking back at it, but I didn't want her driving my car being, you know, I knew she was under the influence. So I went and got her. I said, we'll come and get the car in the morning, you know. I'll have a friend at a wrecker service and I'll bring it to the shop. So we sent the wrecker down there, and he said, there's no car like that here. I said, what do you mean? He said, there's nothing here. So I jumped in the car, I looked, and I said, well, shit, I know it was here because I saw it last night. Well, it was gone. So, two things I'm thinking. Somebody stole the damn thing, right? You know, I mean, it could be driven. You just had to do it without a clutch. You know, bump start it, you know, speed shift it. You didn't really need a clutch for that, so you could do it. All right, John, thanks for popping in, man. And we'll see you next week. Have a good one. So, people were afraid to sue me, Dave. Because I'd tell them, you want to sue me, I'll finish what I started, you know. And I don't think anybody wanted it. Because I came across as a lunatic, even though I really wasn't. But it was something I learned a long time ago, that if you scare them bad enough, they won't mess with you. So that's what I did. Anyway, long story short, I reported the car stolen because I didn't know what else to do. I had a friend of mine, we actually scoured Bonita Springs because we knew the criminals were all over the place. And, you know, both me and him, we went our separate ways, and he roughed up some people, I roughed up some people, and, you know, people admitted to doing all kinds of shit, but not stealing the car, you know. So I finally got a hold of the owner of the park at the mini mall. He was up in another state. And I said, you know, my girlfriend has a car here, and it broke down on her. We left it there overnight. I was going to come get it in the morning, and it's gone. Oh, he said, oh, yeah, we tow off overnights. I said, okay, that kind of sucks, but who's your towing company? She goes, well, hold on. He looks it up. He gives me a name of a towing company. Well, Bonita Springs is in Lee County. The towing company was in Collier County or Naples. So once I had that information, I knew they picked it up, right? Because who else would do it? So I called this junkyard or impound lot, whatever you want to call it. And the guy said, no, we don't have a car like that here. I said, you're a lying motherfucker. I said, if I have to come down there, it's going to get ugly because I know the car is there. I just talked to the owner of the property that you towed from. Well, let me check again. All of a sudden, the car is there now, right? So me and Donna, we jump in my car. We go down there. I got cash in hand. You know, I found out how much I needed to get it out of impound. I get down there. The fucking car is up on blocks. The wheels and tires are missing. They sold the battery out of it. So I says, well, that's not the way you picked up the car. You had no authority to touch it. Matter of fact, you already broke the law by taking it out of Lee County, because under Florida law, whatever county it's impounded, reported from, has to stay in that county. And you still have only 24 hours to report it to the sheriff's department that you picked up the car. Because, you know, most people would think it was stolen. So the cops know it, so they can say, oh, okay, no, it was impounded, you know. Well, he didn't do either one. Plus, he sold car parts off of it. So the guy started getting smart ass with me. He said, just pay the money and you can have the car. I said, what am I going to do with a car with no tires and wheels or battery? It's supposed to do, put it on my back and carry it out of here? So he started laughing. Now, that was a mistake. So I grabbed him by the fucking shirt. He was he was a fat bastard, but I didn't care. I said I was young and strong. Pulled him across the counter and told him, I says, I don't need much of a reason to end your life. So I don't know if it was one of his employees or his son, big son of a bitch, like 6'3" and huge. I saw him coming up, to help either his boss or his dad. I don't know which. I didn't care. You tell that asshole to back off or I'll snap your neck where you stand. So he said something in Spanish and the guy turned around and left. So I said, look, I'm not fooling with you. I'm going to give you 2 hours to put the proper wheels and tires on that car and a brand new battery in there, because the battery that was in there, I understand, was fairly new. So you're going to replace it with a brand new one. And I want good tires and the exact wheels that belong on that car. Well, 2 hours later, he come up with everything, paid him the money, got the car, and got the hell out of there. That's, that was one of those times where he had to pull the guy across the counter, because he would have just gave me a bunch of shit otherwise, until they basically demonstrated that I wasn't afraid of him or his employee or son or whatever. And he probably did think I was going to kill him. I wouldn't, but he didn't know that. And I've had a couple run-ins like that over the years. It's not fun. And like I said, Dave, there was one, I witnessed an accident. I was with my friend, and the guy backed into him, and under Florida law, whoever does, if you get rear-ended, it's automatically the car behind you's fault. But it wasn't my friend's fault because we were sitting still, and this idiot backed up into us. So he comes out, you're gonna have to replace my car, and I'm suing you. So I got the guy, pulled him aside. I said, look, there's 2 ways we can do this. You can go ahead and try and sue my friend there. I'm going to break both your fucking legs, and you're going to be suing from a wheelchair. Or you can walk away with this because you and I both know this was your fault, and everybody goes home happy and intact. Well, he decided to go that route, so, I said, my friend he was nervous. He said, yeah, the guy's going to sue me. I'm going to lose. No, you won't. I'll take care of it. So, I said, we had our ways of doing things. And they said, today that would be illegal. You go to prison for that shit. But back in the day, it was a different time, man. Hey, Zerudo Eastern Real Fan Productions. How you doing, Zerudo? Good to see you. Zoe, right? I gotta remember that because I'm bad with names. But sometimes I get lucky and I remember. Delmarva said, Jim, there's people sadly in this world like that everywhere. Well, that's true, unfortunately. I saw a cop back into it. I was on 41 at a red light, and this idiot in a convertible blew the light. I mean, he's lucky he didn't get killed. I mean, he was doing probably 60 in a 45, Well, there was a cop in the left turn lane, and there was cars in front of him and cars behind him. So he couldn't just pull out and get. He put the red lights on. I guess the guy in front didn't move fast enough. So he threw it in reverse, slammed into the woman behind him. All right. Of course, she didn't get hurt, but it messed up the car a little bit. And of course, the idiot that blew the red light got away anyway. So I could hear, because I'm still at the light, and I could hear him yelling at her, oh, what the hell's wrong? You ran into a police car. I had my lights on. So I looked at her. I said, she didn't run into you. You run into her. I said, lady, I said, I'll stick around if you need me as a witness to prove that this isn't your fault. I'll be more than happy to, go to court for you. And this cop, he's all pissed off. You get back in your car, mind your own. Oh, no. It doesn't work that way. So you're not pinning this on her. You did this because you're a fucking moron. She got away with it. I never had to go to court because I guess he probably told them what really happened, because he knew basically he was busted anyway. And I would have went to court. I don't care. Yeah, but that's just, like I said, that's kind of the stuff we had to deal with every now and then, New show title, Short Fuse. No, it's Shortline. I got a long fuse now. I don't really get mad. And there's a reason why, because, guys, you guys know I own a gun and I have a carry permit. And many times I go out, I'm strapped. You have to be nowadays, but because of that, I figure other people are strapped too. And you want to be careful. I mean, I don't, there was a time when, you know, you flipped me off, I'd run you off the road, especially after you cut me off. But I don't do that too much anymore because it's dangerous. Yeah, I got a gun, but, I don't know what kind of other moron out there that might decide he want to try and shoot me anyway. I'll have to shoot him. Hopefully I'll get him before he gets me. But I don't want to go there. I don't want to kill anybody. But, if somebody starts shit with me for no good reason, well, they're screwed. But mostly I'm pretty laid back now. I'm peaceable, and don't bother me. I won't bother you. Yeah, right? I didn't think of that, Derek. Of course, you would have known I was full of shit, but it didn't cost me much to fix it. I mean, like I said, she was my girlfriend at the time. Yeah, and she was, like I said, she was a drunk, but she was a fun drunk, so I kind of liked her. But she called me one night. I was in the middle of a deadly food poisoning. I was sick as a dog, and I was at my shop late because I couldn't sleep. I couldn't do anything. I wound up going to the hospital the next day, but that's another story I won't get into. But she calls me up and she says, "You got to come get me." I said, "Why? What the hell did you do now?" She says, "I don't know. I was driving through the park, Naples Park, and she says, I misjudged the turn. I went through the ditch into this guy's yard. My car's all messed up. It won't run anymore." I says, "All right, just walk away from there. I'll pick you up a couple streets over. I'll have someone get the car." So she got really lucky. I mean, she could have went to jail that night and got DUI and everything, and she was trashed. So my friend, the record driver who did work for me for my business, I called him. I said, "Dude," he says, "you got to do this right now for us. I'll pay you double if you need to. Go pick this car up. I don't know what condition it's in. It's in the guy's front yard. Just go get it and bring it to the shop." So he did. Of course, she tore the tire off it when she went. She actually went into the ditch and hit the driveway, and the driveway tore the passenger front tire off of it. So he was able to retrieve the tire, wheel, I mean, all this. I mean, it just tore the whole steering, I mean, it tore the whole thing off, brakes and everything. So he throws it, he brings it over there. So I went and got her, brought her back to the shop. Like I said, sick as a dog, but I didn't want her to get in trouble. So I wound up fixing the car a couple of days later, but what a disaster that was. It's crazy. But it was fun. I had a good time. I had an interesting life pretty much, so nothing wrong with that, right? Oh, well, this thing really jumped. Let's see here. Yeah, that's unfortunately true, Floyd. It's not anything new. Um, it was the way things were done at the time. And my mother, I always blame my mother for my attitude because she was crazy. And she cussed way worse than I did. She passed now. She passed a few years ago, but she made it to 80 anyway. The hospital killed her with morphine because she was allergic to it. But anyway, growing up with her before my parents got divorced, I remember one time she ran a stop sign, an old 2-lane road in Pine Ridge, and cops seen it and pulled her over, and she gets out of the car. And like I said, this is shit you couldn't get away with. They would have shot her today. She gets out of the car, starts screaming at the cop. "You motherfucker, what the fuck did you..." And that was her favorite word, was fuck. And she was just cussing this guy up a storm. He was actually shaking. I mean, I would think I was like 10 years old at the time, maybe 11. And the cop was so rattled by her, he just let her go with a warning. And I'm going, my mother's fucking crazy. But that's how she got things done. I mean, she would just scream and go nuts, and people would back down. They were afraid of her. That's the way it was. Zoe, I'm originally from New Jersey, Carteret, by the way. But I moved down here with my parents in 1969 at 10 years old, and I've been in Naples up until 4 years ago. Now I'm up here in Sebring in Florida. So that's my life story as far as where I've been. Hey Dave, BNSF N Scale. How's it going, Dave? Good to see you. Uh, Ray Bertelson. Hey Ray, how's it going? Hi Big Jim and all. Just getting back from running errands, and Jim is on a rant. No, just telling stories. Which I gotta be careful. I can get carried away with some of that stuff, but they're all true though. I don't lie or exaggerate about anything. So John says I'm back now. What did I miss? You're gonna have to go back and check the replay, John. You missed all kinds of stuff, man. Yeah, I'm serious. Oh man. Let's see what else we got going here. James says, Derek, I opened pink box from Heath Monday night. What is this with the pink box? What the hell did he send you? And why is it in the pink box? That's true, Gerald. That Armed Society is a polite society. It made me very, like I said, I'm very laid back now, and I don't start anything. If you force me to shoot you, I will. But I would never start anything like that. There's a lot of responsibility with carrying, and I take that responsibility very seriously. Plus, I carry a 45, so if I do have to shoot you, you're probably gonna die. But if you're gonna carry, might as well carry correctly, and no nines for this guy. That jumped again on me. Yeah, I wish you'd quit doing that. Boy, it really did. Heath called out sick last night. Oh, did he, John? I didn't know that. I always miss his shows. I mean, for a while there, I was watching him every week. And then, I don't know, I just kind of got sidetracked. And I have a hard time catching anybody's shows now. The ones, I absolutely do Tom's Trains and things on Wednesday. Workbench Wednesday. If he's not on, then I try and catch Workbench or the Wednesday show that Tom Grassi and his crew do. Cab Crew Wednesday. And I keep forgetting to do James's show on Monday. I try and catch On Track Tuesday when I can. Like I said, I'm having a tough time keeping up with everything. Hot Dog Pilot Andy. Hey Andy, how's it going, man? Good to see you. Delmarva real fans, my mom's the same way. Well, back in the day, I guess that was normal. I mean, my mother was half Italian, half Hungarian. My dad was all Italian, so I really class myself as Italian, but I do have Hungarian, and the Hungarians are fucking crazy. They really are. They're not afraid, not at all. They said my mother, she didn't care. I mean, I'd get in trouble at school, and it usually wasn't my fault. Like I caught fighting a guy. I didn't start it. I finished it. I'm on top of the guy pounding him, right? But he's the one who jumped on me first. So next thing you know, I get cracked in the back of the head with a yardstick. I jump up, right? Because I thought somebody was helping him, I was ready to hit, and it was the vice principal. We used to call her Bulldog Hunter because her face was pushed in like a bulldog. She was ugly. But she was probably like in her 70s, Thank God I didn't hit her. I probably would have killed her. So I was like, oh my God, what the hell? She said, what the hell is wrong with you fighting on school guys? So I didn't start it, We'll get to the office right now. So I get to the office, and the principal's up my ass. He says, well, we have zero tolerance. I didn't start the fight. What did you think I was going to do? Let somebody beat my ass? I said, then everybody will beat my ass. I said, I had to fight back, So I got the better of him, and that's the way it goes. He lost, I won. But I didn't start it. Well, you're getting 2 licks. I said, no, I'm not. I'll take one because, I'm half the problem, but I'm not the whole problem. He says, well, you don't get to tell me what you're going to get. I said, oh, yeah, well, we'll see. So they had a chair, the old plastic school chairs. He had it up against the wall. You had to grab the seat of the chair, bent over, and your head's about this far from the wall. And this guy was a semi-golf pro. I mean, he had a whole locker full of different paddles, rubber ones, wooden ones, ones with holes. Anyway, he got the wooden paddle out there. He go, give me a good whack, man. I smacked the wall, hurt my head. I'm thinking, you son of a bitch, you know. So when he came back around to do the second one, I tucked and rolled. Well, he swung around, missed me, obviously. Lost his balance, hit the ground, and as soon as he hit the ground, I grabbed the paddle and started beating him with it, right? Then I'm yelling at him, you son of a bitch, you beat me with a paddle. How you like getting beat, you know? I mean, I completely lost it. I think I was, what, 13 years old at the time? You know? I wasn't a big guy either. I mean, I was not real small, but, you know, average build. And he's screaming for them to call the cops, right? So next thing you know, the sheriff's there. They got me in handcuffs. I was going to go to jail, man, you know. You got to call my parents, you know. So they called my parents, and my mom and dad came down, and my dad was like a real peaceful person. He didn't raise his voice or anything. If he did, you were in trouble, you know. But in all the years I know, I beat my ass twice, and it was my fault. That's another story. But so my mother comes in there. What the fuck is the problem here? That was her. I said that was her go-to word. You know, that was the only word she knew, I think. So the principal said, "Well, your son, you know, got in a fight in school. We brought him in there. We tried to paddle him, and he took the paddle away from me and started beating me with it." So she looks at me. She says, "That true?" "Yes, ma'am." He wanted to give me 2 whacks, and I said, "You can give me 1 because I didn't start the fight." And the other kid didn't get in any trouble at all, which is not right, you know. So I let him give me 1, and the second one, I took it away from him and beat him with it. I'm thinking I'm going to get in trouble, right? Because I said I wouldn't lie to my mother, because lying to my mother was a death sentence, at least as far as we thought anyway. So she looks at the principal and goes, "You're lucky I don't take that paddle and beat the hell out of you. Who the fuck gave you permission to hit my kid anyway?" "I didn't." You know, like, she was threatening to sue the sheriff's department for putting me in cuffs, sue the school board, the principal, and I think there was a couple other people. Sue everybody. Well, they uncuffed me. They dropped all charges and shit, and I didn't even get suspended from school for that, you know, because that would have been an instant, like, 2-week suspension, out of school suspension. But she said, he's not getting suspended. She says, the next time he tells you he didn't start a fight, you're not going to paddle him for that. If he starts it, you paddle him, you tell me, I'll come back and I'll finish what you started. But if he didn't start the fight, he had every right to defend himself. You know, which is basically my role anyway. I never started fights. He said I would finish some of them. But what? I transferred out of the school the next year. I went to that was the middle school, 6th grade. And I said, I've had enough of this shit. I said, people there don't like me, you know. The principals definitely don't like me. And I figured they were just looking for a reason to nail me on something to get even. So it's time to hit the road and go to another school, which I did. Well, like I said, you do what you got to do, you know. It's just the way it is. And it was kind of funny, too, because this big guy, and he was like 6'1". He was built well. He said he was a semi-professional golfer. And he was crying like a little damn baby. And I couldn't have hurt him that much. I mean, a 13-year-old, how much force could I put on him, you know? I didn't hit him in the head. I was hitting him in the back and in the back of his legs and stuff. He had long pants on, so I couldn't have hurt that bad. But the way he was screaming and crying for help, you'd think I was killing him, you know? It was kind of funny in a way. Shortly after that, they, at least in Collier County, where they forbid corporal punishment in the schools, which I didn't agree with. I thought it was necessary at times. The problem was there were so many people, teachers and stuff, that took advantage of it, you know? And it's not right. Zoe's from New Jersey, then you know where Carteret is. Carteret's up there by New Brunswick and Perth Amboy. It's up in the north end. That's where I'm from. Yeah, a lot of people from Jersey, you know. Tom Grassi, he's still in Jersey, so I think he's, I can't remember where Tom said he's at, but. Delmarva says, I subscribed. Is that the Wildwood, New Jersey tram? Okay, cool. Yeah, I subscribed. I think today. Did I subscribe today? Today or yesterday? I don't remember. I don't know. I know I subscribed though. It locked. I don't know why this thing keeps locking. It's weird. I'm really far behind too. Let's see. So he says, I'm a female rail fan from New Jersey. Okay, cool. I don't usually meet people from Jersey. I mean, you're only like the second one, Tom being the first. I know it's expensive to live up there. That's one of the reasons why my parents moved down here. My dad sold the house, and I say it was my mother's fault. Really, she wanted to move to Florida. We came for a visit in '67. Went to Miami, and that's back when Miami was pretty much all Jewish. They didn't have any, Mexicans or Spanish down there, Cubans or anything. And we took a hopper flight to Naples, and Naples was nothing at the time. I mean, it was mostly empty land and woods. So we spent a couple weeks down here, and 2 years later, my dad decided he let us know we're moving to Florida. Okay. Kind of weird. But there be Mrs. Hours. I know. I'm sorry, James. It's not intentional, but it just happens. Sometimes I catch the replays, though. Jim, I will send you a link for Monday. You are the guest. Oh, really? That'd be cool. I could do that. That'd be fun. I haven't been a guest on a show in a while. I think the last guest I've been was on Track Tuesday, I think. John wants to know what time James usually watch Nick's Monday night at 9. James is on at 8, I think, isn't it? Or is it 7? Oh, okay, it is 7. Well, that'll be easier. Yeah, just make sure you let me know, like in the morning. Send me a link or just an email, because I'll forget it, And then like at 8 o'clock, oh shit, I was supposed to be on James's show. Because, I'm losing my mind, Not really, but I get forgetful more often than not lately. Let's see. James says, I'm a North End kid. We got into trouble all the time. And Floyd wants to know North End to where. Hamilton, wherever that is. It's up in Canada, that's all I know. But John says, if I got in trouble at school, it would be worse when I got. Well, there were times, I did stupid things, I'm not going to lie. It wasn't often, and yeah, I got my ass beat, like I said, the worst beating I ever got is that I was 13 years old. I ran away from home. And because my mother was giving me a bunch of grief, and I was so disgusted with her. I said, you know what, I'm done. I'm out of here, right? And like I said, I was kind of a hothead even as a kid. So I didn't really pack anything. I just had my normal clothes on, got some food, and hit the highway, right? So I was gone for about 2 hours. I was actually on my way back home when the sheriff picked me up, and he says, "Are you Jim Tedesco?" Yeah. Or yes, sir. I was very polite. And he said, all right, get in the car, we're taking you home. I said, well, I was on my way home anyway. He said, well, I got to take you myself. I said, all right. So I get in the back of the car. We get to my house, and I knock on the door. My dad answers the door, and he says, well, what do you got to say for yourself, son? I said, well, if this pig hadn't pulled me over, I was on my way home. Well, I didn't hardly get pig out. He whipped his belt off and started beating the shit out of me in front of the cop. Now, this was in like 1973 or somewhere around. It was early 70s. So I was 13 years old. And he beat the shit out of me. He didn't draw blood, but I had a lot of welts and bruises. And he didn't just hit me in the ass, he hit me everywhere, And that cop stood there with this shit-eating grin on his face, watching my dad beat my ass, And I tell you what, from that day forward, I never called a cop a pig again. At least not in front of my dad. he got so mad because my dad, you will respect authority, and that was the way he was, you know. And like I said, he didn't fly off the handle often, but when he did, it was going to be bad. And I really I thought he was going to kill me. I really did. I mean, he would not stop. The whole thing carried on for maybe only 3 or 4 minutes. But, you know, I'm screaming and crying and everything. And that cop's just sitting there with that shit-eating grin on his face. And I'm thinking, boy, I messed up bad. You know. And then if he'd have done that today, they would have locked him up, put me in a group home somewhere, a foster home somewhere, and nothing would have gotten accomplished. Now, at the time, I didn't think it was right that he beat me like that, but looking back at it, probably the best thing he ever did to me. It taught me something, you know, taught me respect. Something that I had somewhat of, but not enough of. And this is the problem today. We're not beating our kids anymore. And they're assholes. You know? And it's the truth of it. So, but that stuck with me. To this day, it still sticks. And I love my dad. He passed in 2010. He was 91 years old. And I never really held it against him for doing that. Like I said, I thought it was probably one of the best things he ever did for me. Had he not done that, I'd have probably turned out way worse than I did. I don't know. It is what it is. John says, Herman's Sporting Goods used to have a headquarters in Carteret. Really? I wouldn't know. I was only 10 years old when we left. I still know my way around there. The last time I was up there was probably about 30 some years ago. My first wife, we were touring the East Coast, and while we were in Jersey, I said, I'm going to go stop and check my hometown out. You know, the old house was still there. They renovated it, but it was still there, and it pretty much looked the same. Everything looked the same as it did when we left. You know, what was that? I left when I was 10. I got married at 18. And, like 12 years later, it didn't change at all. But, you know, I never planned on moving back there. I just, you know, I don't miss it. Boy says, when I was in grade 2, I got the strap every other day. And that, hey, it happens, man. I saw some of my friends used to get, boy, they used to get beat. I mean, literally beat. I didn't agree with it, but, you know, wasn't my place to say anything. Like I said, I don't agree with some things, but I do agree with others, and I think there's a time and place for everything, you know. I said, my two daughters, my firstborn, you know, my oldest daughter, April, and my second daughter, Nova, when they were in second and third grade, respectively, they came home one day, and, you know, we used to ask them every day, what'd you learn in school, you know, because that's what parents did. And I said, well, we found out that you and mommy can't hit us or you'll go to jail. Really? I says, you know, we hit you for a reason, right? We don't beat them, but they got disciplined when they needed it. It was very rare. Because I had a basic rule. The first time you did something wrong, you didn't know. You got grounded, but you didn't get the belt or anything. If you did it a second time, then all bets are off. You're going to get your ass beat, you know. Not beat, but you'd get disciplined. I thought I only took the belt to my daughter's butts maybe 2 or 3 times in their entire lives. Because they were good kids, you know. We were fair with them, but there was times when you just needed to do that because, you know, they'd push you. And you had to show them, well, I'm not afraid to beat you, you know, or to hit you. So the next day I went back to the school. Well, actually, let me back up a minute. So I explained to my daughter, I said, did they also tell you that when mommy and daddy go to jail, they'll take you away and put you in a house with strangers where they'll abuse you even worse than you get here? No. Oh yeah, we'll be gone forever and you'll have to live with strange people that don't like you. We didn't tell us that. Of course they did, you know, so that straightened that shit out. So the next day I go to school and I had it out with the teacher. You know, I said, look, you have no fucking right to tell my kids that they can call the cops on me if I hit them. They're my kids. To quote Bill Cosby, I brought them into the world. I'll take them out if I please. You know, I wouldn't do that, but, you know. So, you know, he said, look, I said, you're here to teach my kids the 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic, all right? You're not here to tell them, that ask them or quiz them on whether we're hitting them or grounding them or sexually abusing them. That's none of your fucking business. First of all, we're not doing any of those things. But you're putting ideas in my kids' head that I don't want into their heads. You're ruining their childhood. If you keep it up, you're going to get sued, and that's on the good end. On the bad end, you're going to wind up in the hospital. You know. Sir, are you threatening me? Man, I'm Italian. I don't make threats. If I tell you I'm going to do something, it'll happen. I'll get out of jail before you'll get out of the hospital. Think about that for a minute. I never had problems with these people after that, you know. But that was the way you had to deal with it. But they were that was when they started doing the whole child abuse thing. And then the sexual abuse, they had one day, I think it was a year later. No, it was the same year. But before that happened, my girls came home and, you know, what'd you do in school? Oh, we played with dolls. And what are you doing playing with dolls? Well, you know, we had to point out the parts that you're not supposed to see. And then, you mean like naked parts? You know, the parts that, yeah, Dad, you know, oh shit, I fucking lost it. Back in school, you know. What the fuck are you people doing, you know? Well, we're going to make sure you're not sexually abusing your kids. Says, what kind of a sick bastard do you think I am? You know? I says, I wouldn't even rape a woman that I didn't know, let alone my own kids. What the hell's wrong with you? Well, sir, that happens more often than I said, well, not in my house, it don't. And I said, now you got my kids scared. You got me a little nervous, you know. I said, this is wrong. You shouldn't be doing this. But that's what they were doing that the whole time. I mean, you know. And it was so bad that, if, you know, my oldest daughter, April, she was playing in the backyard, and the metal, I can't think of what they're called now, for the property markers. She fell on one. You know, it was only about this far above the ground, rebar. And right next to her private parts, you know, it actually punctured her thigh. She needed stitches. Well, we were afraid to take her to the hospital because they would accuse us of doing something. So I stitched her up myself. And I did such a good job to this day you can barely see a scar. You know, but that's what you had to start taking care of things yourself, because as soon as you went to the hospital with your kids, if anything happened to the kid, you know, what did you do to your kid? You know, I didn't do anything. She was playing. Shit happens. You know, it's bad, man. It was a tough time to grow up. But I eventually put my girls in Catholic school because public school was a joke, and we could have probably did homeschool, but it wasn't popular at that point because my ex-wife, she didn't work. You know, she was a homemaker, and she could have actually, you know, taught the kids and probably taught them better, but I have nothing good to say about the school system, not at all. Let's see, I have to go if the stream is still on. Okay, Zoe, well, that's cool. John says, my younger brother had the sheriff show up the morning after egging with his middle school buds. My dad was lit. Yeah, if I'd have done something like that, I'd have got my ass beat for sure. That's what I said. We generally didn't do stuff like that, you know. Yeah, other people did, but I didn't. I didn't think it was worth the aggravation of the pain that I was going to get afterwards. Jason's, my tablet's running low on power. You might have to, you know, shut down. That's cool. If you're serious about having me guest, just remember to let me know Monday morning, so I'll remember. There's a sick Jim. You didn't really, no, I kind of thought he would, but like I said, that was back at a different time, and you were allowed to beat your kids. And I tell you what, I got an actual beating. I mean, there's discipline, and then there's getting your ass beaten. I got my, I mean, yeah, that fucking belt come out, boy, he was smacking me everywhere. That in the back of the head, in the back, in the chest, and the legs. I think he got me once in the nuts. I was in so much pain, and I really thought he was going to kill me. I seriously did, you know. I mean, but that cop, he just, you know. And if I were that cop, you know, today and saw a man did that to his kid, I'd probably be standing there with a shit-eating grin too. Fuck the law. You know, you do what needs to be done. And I'll tell you, some of these kids need a good ass kicking. You know. There's the James, plug it in. There you go. James says, I took my sister to school and lost her. That's not good. Where was the sheriff's office? Swine Pork Street? No. They had a they didn't have the substation Naples Park. That was all the way from uh East Naples that they came down, so but you know, they didn't have much to do back in those days, so any call they would take seriously, and you know, like I said, they were the cops, you know. I don't know. Like I said, it's crazy stuff. Waycross Thomas says, I'm looking forward to my new job to be settling job of driving, taking the train crew to the train and picking up crews at the hotel and eating snack food and Gatorade and sweet tea and trains. Yeah, that would be kind of a cool job. The only thing better than that would be actually operating the train. But that's a cool job, man. You know. Hey, more power to you, man. Good for you. Derek says, Scott, sounds like a good fit. Absolutely. Not jumped on me again, damn it. John says, that's a pretty busy terminal Waycross. I know the CSX paint shop is there too. Oh, really? That's cool. Hey, there's Tammy and Ray, mom and son train grill fan. How you doing, Tammy? How's it going? And there's Raymond Anthony, 127. Just got here. Raymond, how's it going? Good to see you. Thomas says, yes, it's busy at times, John, and slow at times. I imagine it is. Still, though, that is a cool job to have. I wouldn't have minded doing that. Back in the day, I loved driving anyway, you know. Ray says, back in the 70s, my dad was an SO, sheriff's officer, and he would say pig was derogatory but stood for pride, integrity, and guts. Okay. Yeah, I could. I still try to respect the badge, but it gets hard when they have no respect for. That's true. I mean, there's a lot of good cops out there, and I've known many of them, but I've known a few bad ones too, you know. And I have a hard time keeping my mouth shut with the bad ones, you know. But like I said, I get pulled over for speeding or something, you know, I'm polite. They ask me, Stu, you know how fast you're going? Yeah, not really. Like I'm going to tell them. Because if you tell them and they don't really know, you incriminate yourself and you're going to get a ticket for it. So I just say, I wasn't paying attention. You know, I know damn good well how fast I was going. And they probably know I know that, but you know, they're polite. Well, sir, you were going 10 over. I know. Well, you know, I'm going to have to write you a ticket. Oh, that's cool, you know. You want to play, you got to pay. And 9 times out of 10, they'll wind up giving me a warning instead. You know, because isn't it polite, you know. I'm not going to be an asshole. Now, one time when I was 17 years old, I had my Chevelle, my SS, 65 Malibu SS. And I had like a 400 some horse motor in that thing, you know, it was a runner. And I was coming off a side street onto 41 in downtown Naples. It was in the evening. There wasn't a lot of people on the road, but I roasted the tires, man. I mean, roasted them. So, I never lost control of the car. I mean, the car was capable of 140, but I was only probably doing 15 miles an hour. Tires were doing 140, but the car itself was barely moving. I'm just roasting the tires, right? So, of course, I hear the siren and see the red lights. Oh, shit, I just got popped for this, right? And it wasn't a big deal. I mean, at the time, the fines weren't that bad. So I'm thinking, well, you know, I'll get a $30 fine, no big deal, you know. So I pull over, I shut the car off. This fucking cop comes. He was a city cop. They were real assholes. rips open my door, grabs me by the arm, and rips me out of the car. You know? Because, you could have killed yourself or somebody else. And like at first I was kind of, dazed by it. I mean, it was unexpected. And all of a sudden I was like, fuck you. I says, idiot. I says, I wasn't posing a danger to anybody, not even myself. I says, get over it, dude. You're going to write me a ticket, write me the damn ticket, and get the fuck out of my face. Don't you go grabbing me out of the car. I should get you for assault. So, he calmed down because I was screaming at him the same. I guess he didn't expect that, So he says, well, yeah, you can't be doing. I said, yeah, look, I got caught, okay? This is, shit happens, man. I'm a kid. Give me a break. I love speed. I love the smell of burnt rubber. I said, he said, you know how fast you are? Yeah, about 15. I said, the tires are doing probably 140, but the car was only doing 15. Never lost control of it. Worst case scenario, I would have blew a tire, but I was going so slow it wouldn't have made a difference. That's the worst case scenario. You're blowing this out of proportion. I could have killed somebody or myself. Baloney. You're going to write me a ticket or you're going to go away? Well, he wrote me a ticket. It was a $30 fine, improper start. I paid the ticket and that was the end of that. But I mean, he was being a real dick about it. All he had to do was, pull me, sir, you can't do that. It's illegal. Yes, sir, I know. Give me the ticket. That's cool. And everybody would have went away somewhat happy. Like you said, the cops give him, Big Daddy badass, and like, oh, he's a kid. I could fuck with him. But they really, and that was the problem a lot of times too. It's, I don't know. Raven says on a different note, we are finally getting mass-produced N-scale models of the Amtrak Surfliner. Oh, really? That's cool. I'm not N-scale, but for you N-scalers, that's cool. And Marva said, Jim, do you remember when people... Yeah, well, that's what I said. That's why I made that mistake. And never again after I got my ass beat by my dad because, he did not appreciate me calling that cop a pig. And the cop didn't really give a shit, He said they were, I think they were more grown up about it, but I think he was just happy that my dad beat my ass, I don't know. Oh, here you go. John says, I love watching old Adam 12 reruns, and it's pretty amazing how much patience LAPD had in the... That's true, and they really were. They were much different, And because, well, and of course, the criminals had more sense. The criminals today are nuts, I mean, back in those days, it was very rare for somebody to shoot a cop because that was an instant death sentence anyway, If the cop didn't kill you, they'd hang you anyway. I mean, you were going to die either way. But, But what happened, like I said, the people got crazy. And the cops just, I think they got scared, And I can't blame them to a point. But I also don't, because the problem with the cops today is they expect everybody that they pull over is going to be an asshole and potentially try and kill them. That's not true, I wanted to be a sheriff, and they wouldn't let me because my reputation. And because I didn't play the game either. If somebody fucked me, I'd have just shot him and that would have been the end of it, But you can't pull a gun on a cop, because that'll get you killed, Or if somebody went to try and take my gun, they're going to get shot. I don't care, I don't care what color you are. I don't care what race you are, I'll treat you with respect, but I expect you to do the same to me. But like I said, some of the cops that I ran into back in those days, they were real assholes, man, and they didn't deserve anything, let alone respect, Johnson, the Nazi kids called Pete and Jim pigs all the time. Yeah, problem. Raven A says, a speeding ticket is what inspired I Can't Drive 55 by Sandy Haig. Yeah, problem. Well, and I never did. I still don't do the speed limit. I just can't do it, And I remember when the speed limits were 55. I hated it, especially on a long trip. You'd fall asleep. You became dangerous because driving, you need to be alert. And if you're alert, the only way you can be alert is to drive somewhat fast, because you don't want to be doing 70 or 80 or whatever and, dozing off at the wheel. That's dangerous. So you're more alert. I did better at higher speeds than I did at lower speeds. That bullshit 55 saves lives. Yeah, well, tell that to all the dead people. you know. And he says, getting pulled up by the fuzz is too painful here. I remember when he used to call them fuzz too. That was in the 60s, I think. They were fuzz and they were the pigs, and I would just call them assholes. But I get along with most of the cops, though. The cops up here are really nice. When I had my repair shop down in Naples, I was working a lot of their private vehicles. So I got away with all kinds of shit. I could do 20 over down, on the road, and they just wave at me, Seriously. I never got ticketed, the whole time that I had my shop open, because, I took care of them, they took care of me. I mean, is that right? Probably not, but, it is what it is. That's that one. Yep. Hey, Carolina Foothills. How you doing, Carolina? So my friend is a sheriff deputy, and he wears a pig tie. Well, some of them, they can make a joke about it, I was dating this one girl, and her stepdad was a city cop in Naples. Nicest guy you'd ever want to meet till he put that damn uniform on. He was like Jekyll and Hyde, As soon as he put the badge and the gun and the uniform on, he was the worst son of a bitch on the planet, and he didn't give a shit about your rights or anything. But out of uniform, he was a great guy, because I kind of ran into him both ways, And I'm going, I don't understand. What the hell's wrong with you, Well, you got to deal with all these assholes. You just get that way after a while. I said, well, when you get to that point, it's time to hang up the badge, because it's not fair to decent people that will treat you with respect, that you should treat with respect as well. I said, that's the way I feel about it, man. You're a night and day person here. That's not good, But he was a real dick in uniform. But he's a nice guy out of uniform, so go figure. Let's see here. Had a cop scream at me for 10 minutes, and I just sat there and said, yes, sir. Then he went to write me a ticket, and I told him, you can rip me a new asshole, or right, not both. He let me go. There you go. And sometimes, like I said, sometimes they're okay with it, And I think the cops, there's some cops, not all of them, but some cops, they'll intentionally screw with you, hoping that you'll go after them, or that you'll do something stupid, I never did. I've been arrested for almost everything you could name, up to and including murder. Never did any of those things. But it's a long story, which I'm not going to get into. But when I was younger, I had a lot of problems with the sheriffs. They hated me, mostly because I stood up to them. Because back in those days, if the sheriff said, get on your knees and suck my you-know-what, you damn well better do it. Well, I don't play that game. They didn't go that far, but you know what I'm saying? They expected you to do what they told you without any argument. I didn't play it. They want to search my car? Go get a warrant. Oh, I don't need a warrant. Oh, yes, you do. And unless you get one, you're not touching my car. Of course, they never got one because they had no reason to. But there were a lot of kids my age that would let them literally destroy their vehicles and then walk away, because without a warrant, you've got no protection. And back in, well, you needed a warrant in those days. I don't think you do now, but a little different now. But like you said, there were cops that would do things just to get a rise out of you, so they can either beat you or possibly shoot you, definitely arrest you. And that's one of the reasons why I got arrested so much, because it was so bad. I'd be in my car driving, Naples Park, nothing serious, resident. I'm not speeding, not doing anything wrong. And there's the blue lights. I'd pull over. Cop would get out of the car. Mr. Tedesco, let's see some ID. What do you need my ID for? You already know who I am. Mr. Tedesco, don't make me ask you twice. Let me see ID. Pull out my license. He'd look at it. And He knew who I was because everybody knew me. So he said, "Where are you going? Where you been? What are you going to do?" I said, "None of your business, none of your business, none of your business. You're going to arrest me, otherwise fuck off, you know." And that's basically what I tell them, you know. Of course, they never arrested me because, well, sometimes they did, but most time they wouldn't because they had nothing. So they let me go. I'd get 2 or 3 miles down the road. There's the blue lights, a different cop. I'd pull over. "Mr. Tedesco, let's see some ID." This shit went on for 7 years, you know. And I was ready to sue after 7 years. And actually, I got popped for loitering at the beach one night, which I wasn't. I pulled in there to see if any of my friends were there. Nobody was there, so I turned around and went back home. Cops pulled me over in my driveway. "So what were you doing at the beach?" I said, "Well, I was looking for anybody that I might know." Nobody was there. "Well, you were loitering there. Were you planning on doing something illegal?" I said, "I already told you what I was going to do." "Well, I'm going to arrest you for loitering and prowling." So this is about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I yelled to my dad to wake him up because we were sitting in my driveway. So, "Dad, I'm getting arrested. Come bail me out." Then they went ahead and put a second charge on me for disturbing the peace. So they arrested me, brought me down to the station. They couldn't charge me with it. Well, they kept the disturbing the peace thing going, but they dropped the loitering and prowling because they had nothing. So I had to go to court. A couple weeks later, I go to court. Cop lies his ass off, you know. I said, "Your Honor," I said, "I was getting arrested. I wanted my dad to know I was getting arrested, so I yelled out to him. I wasn't overly loud, you know." I said, "Fred, I was pulled over. I was arrested for a stupid reason anyway." I had a post bail to get out of jail when I initially got arrested. It was $75. So a judge was going to find me. He says, "I'm going to find you not guilty, but I'm going to fine you the $75." So I was so pissed. I just turned around. "You know what? Fuck everyone is. I'm hiring a lawyer. I'm suing the shit out of this goddamn town. I'll own it when I'm done." And I walked out of the courtroom. Here comes the DA running out. "Oh, Mr. Tedesco, hold on, calm down." I said, "No, I want my fucking money back. I want this shit to go away like it never happened because it was bullshit. And I want that fucking cop kept away from me. Otherwise, I'm getting a lawyer. I got 7 years of harassment. I will own this town. Trust me." He got me my 75 bucks back, got a lifetime restraining order against the cop, and everything was cleared, you know. But I had just gotten to the point where I was so fed up with it because this went on there 7 years, you know, and I wasn't doing anything, you know. Every time somebody else did something, they'd come and see me. I knew this one kid, he was going around, well, he set a semi-cab on fire. He tossed a Molotov in it. So they came to me and said, "Did you do this?" And no. "You know who did?" No, I wasn't going to say I did. I mean, I wasn't part of it. I said, "I don't know nothing about it." They go ahead and arrest me for it. Hey, you know, of course, they'd wind up turning me loose because they had nothing, you know. There were fingerprints on what was left of the Molotov. It didn't match mine, so it's like, try to tell you assholes I didn't do it, you know. But that's why 7 years I put up with that shit. No. Actually, they've got something going on. There's some, can't remember what it's called now. Something to do with some flowers, and they got like I think it's a $30 train ride. I just can't afford it right now. I'd love to do it, but I'll have to wait till next year because money's too tight this year. See how far am I behind here? Zoe's back. Let's see. Well, I only got hit once by a cop. He actually, not hard, but he hit me with his nightstick because he wanted to enter my van and search it. I said, "No, you're not doing it." So he tapped me in the arm with it. I said, "You do that again." I says, "You will regret the rest of your life." You know, "Are you threatening me, son?" "No, sir. I'm Italian. I have family. You know what kind of family I'm talking about, right? You don't want to go there." And it scared him. He thought I was connected. I wasn't. My mother might have been, but I wasn't. So I didn't think they wanted to take the chance. And the mafia were big in Naples at the time. So, the fact that I wasn't, in fact, Italian, I think it scared them. And I said, don't ever touch me again. I said, what you're trying to do is illegal anyway. And just go away. I'm not doing anything wrong. And he did. I wanted to fucking haul off and knock that motherfucker right in the face, though. But I knew if I did that, I'm going to jail. So I didn't. I mean, I held back. I had sense, but it really did piss me off. And he says, I'll bet he's got SC mods. I don't know what that is. Oh, no shit, man. I tell you what. Anybody does stupid shit like that should go to jail. And get the shit beat out of them, too. I mean, what's wrong with people that do stuff? I mean, I understand curiosity, but I don't think that was curiosity. I would bet money that was his plan, was to derail a train. Bragging rights. Now I got problems with people do shit like that. It's just wrong. All right, Floyd, have a good one, man. I'm going to wrap this up pretty soon, too. I was going to keep this short, and I got the yakking too much. And see, have I done anything else here that I wanted to talk about? I don't remember. I think that's about it, really. You've seen pretty much everything I have to show. And filmed it. Well, that was just brilliant. Did he put it on YouTube? Yeah. Or Facebook? And people like that are just plain stupid, and they need to get what they need to get. Oh, okay, Andy. State, county, municipal offices, offender data system, Blues Brothers. Yeah, that's right. That was a good movie, too. I still watch it every now and then. I tell you, there's something wrong with some of these people today. They just, I mean, there's one thing to do pranks. I mean, I never did it, but I had friends that, egged houses, toilet papered, TP'd houses, like at Halloween and stuff. But I just never felt that was right. So, and yeah, he did put it on YouTube. Well, and he gets what he gets then. And hopefully they throw the book at him, because he deserves it. Anyway, guys, it's see, I'm gonna run for another 10 minutes, and I'm gonna wrap it up. We'll call it a night at 8:15. See, that's another thing I don't agree with either. Because in Baltimore, he can't be charged. He's a minor. If you're old enough to do the crime, you're old enough to pay the price. He said a lot of them think that. I mean, in a way, he will get rid of it. I mean, or get away with it, because if they charge him as a minor, he might do some time in juvie. But then they can't even hold it against him when he turns 18. They seal those records. They're supposed to anyway. So it is what it is. We better get some shorts posted. No, I don't. I'm not sure how to do it, to be honest with you. What I want to do is maybe take my channel's about page. I have to sit down and do it, and put pictures and prices of everything that I make, at least at the moment, and then you could just, you could buy stuff from me as you need to. I did a short video the other day showing off some of the stuff I make, and I think I posted most of the prices on it. And of course, everything's negotiable, Like I said, I'm not trying to get rich or anything, but I can make some of the stuff, and if it helps you guys on your layouts, I'll do it for minimal expense. Most vehicles I do, like these here, trucks, tractors, they're $8 plus shipping. The more you buy, the cheaper it is, because the shipping is the same whether you get one of these or 20 of them probably. Um, but like now I've got the propane semi. That's $15 just for the semi. It's the propane trailer itself, and another 8 for the tractor to pull it. Because it takes a lot more to make them and it's a little more complicated. But still, I mean, if you were to buy something already made, of course, remember, you have to detail it yourself. I don't paint or any of that stuff. This is what you get. When you get it, you got to paint it and detail it, do whatever you want with it. It's not hard to do. But if you were to get one already made, you're probably looking at $60 to $80, you know, because the prices are just nuts. I mean, I could probably get 20 or 30 bucks for something like this. But I'm not going to because I think it's a ripoff. Just the way it is, you know. Or if you want the, I've got these I designed myself. This is the same as the clear one, but this is a gray one, no white in it. Now these I'm going to sell for 50 cents a piece, plus shipping, you know. And they're really nice. I mean, they're quality built and all. And they're designed to actually lock onto the rails. You take your, and it's only HO only though. But you get it on there, you press it onto the rail, and there it is. So you don't have to glue it or anything, and you can take it off, remove it, or do whatever you want with it. So, you know, like I said, and if you want something I don't have, I could probably get it for you. You know. Thomas says if y'all want a 3D printed railroad spike, that's 20 bucks. Well, technically it would be because, like I said, I had to get resin for it. And if I got to spend, you know, I spent, like I said, 24 and change, almost 26 with tax on the resin to do it. So, you know, I'm not going to take a loss, but I'm not going to bend anybody over either. So that's the way I do things. That's what I wanted to show you. Before, I got a quick video that I wanted to see. I was supposed to show it to you last week. I forgot. And this is true. This really happened at the time. So here, check this out.
Why did the United States impose the death penalty for scattering salt on railroad tracks? In the United States, in the state of Alabama, there was an unusual law that provided for the death penalty for scattering salt on railroad tracks. This may seem strange, as salt is a common product, and who would have thought that scattering it on the tracks could be a crime? However, in the past, it has become a favorite way for robbers to rob trains and entire trains. Along the railroads in Alabama, special poles were erected on which trespassers were immediately hung if they were caught. Under the laws of the time, a man caught by the sheriff for trespassing was executed by hanging without investigation or trial. To stop the train, the outlaws devised a cunning plan using salt. There were many elk in Alabama who liked the salty taste. The robbers scattered salt on the tracks, attracting entire herds of these animals. Train drivers had to stop to avoid running over the elk. At this point, the robbers would rob the train and then flee in an unknown direction.
Damn it. I forgot to turn the mic back on. Ah. Sorry about that. Glad you guys said that. Oh, I'm not gonna talk to you right now. I'm doing a show. Unless you were calling me to tell me the mic was off. That's it. Somebody alerted me to it. Sorry. Um, Let me repeat what I said. That I said I can make these in O scale because you're only going to use the outer two rails anyway. You're not going to make a. You're not going to use the third rail in the middle. At least I don't think anyway. So I just have to enlarge it. And I said my wife has a vinyl O scale set, so I could use one of her tracks to get a proper fit. And I'd be more than happy to make them for you. Send me an email down there to my email address, and if you're really interested in how many you want, and I'll see what I can do. I said they'll be a little more expensive, but not much. You're probably looking at $2 each. And of course, you know, the more you get, the shipping works out cheaper. So let me know. Not a biggie. Yeah, I know you guys are all yelling at me. Put your damn mic back on. All right, now I guess we're gonna go a little longer. We'll go to 8:30. Hell with it. Okay, John. Yeah, that sounds good. Email me about it. HO. What does HO mean? I don't really know. Don't keep us in suspense. Spit it out. Half O scale. Yeah, it could. I don't know. Might be. I'll take your word for it. I guess it would be about half of an O scale. See, we learn something new every day. Oh, man. Oh, sitting too long. My ass is getting sore. Yeah, I know, Tom. I figured that out. Everybody's yelling at me. There's no sound. See, because what I do, I don't like it to echo, so I turn the mic off when I'm playing a video. Otherwise, you'll get echo. And then, for some reason, I forgot to turn the damn thing back on. Now we need you to go to 8:30 so you can repeat the last. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. 3.5 millimeter to the foot. There you go. HO is short for hoe. Now you guys are funny. All right, well, listen, I'm going to wrap this up now. Screw it. I'm not going to wait till 8:30, but I hope y'all had fun tonight. I know I did. I got the yakking again. I got to quit doing that because, believe me, I got so many stories I can tell. I'd keep you guys busy for about a month. And I got to be careful not to do that. But I have had a good life. It was a very interesting one. I had a lot of fun, but, you know, I went through some shit too, but it's the way it goes. Raven says, I suppose if there was a modeling scale that was a quarter of O scale, it would be OO, or QQ rather, or QO, or quarter O. Well, that would be like N scale, wouldn't it? All right, Caroline. Have a good one, man. Thanks for popping in, and we'll see you next time. HO is short for Kamala. Yeah, ho. All right, Thomas. Have a good one, man. Hell yeah, we'll look for the video. I expect you to, you know, show it off a little bit. You would think the gauges would be based off a standard. They probably are. There's so many scales. I mean, well, they got like 1-to-1 scale, and which I think is classified as standard scale, isn't it? I'm not sure. And then they've got third scale and eighth scale, and I don't even know what half of them are. All I know is HO, O, and N, and Z. I mean, I would never own Z either, but it's just weird. I ride Norfolk Southern now. There you go. Ray says, I'm happy to catch a live show now and then since my schedule changed. There you go. I said, we have fun, you know. Good night makes me think Great Northern. That's what I usually put the GN and, you know, good night to whoever and everyone. Because, you know, I'm lazy and I don't type that fast. Anyway, guys, I'm going to play the outro, so we'll see you next week. And for the most part, have a good weekend and be safe. Have fun. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, which, you know, leaves you wide open. So, and we'll talk to you all later. Bye for now. And don't forget to flip off that signal guide at the end of the outro, too.